ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today for Redtail Technologies Thursday webinar session. Today we're going to be talking about I added that, but where did it go? We're mainly going to be focusing on adding things to the CRM, whether it's a note, an activity, maybe some contacts or some documents. And then you kind of slips your mind like, hey, did I put it to the right contact record, or did I add the right note? And so we're just going to be talking about different things that we can use to go ahead and make sure that we're putting information to the right places. And we're also going to show you some safeguards as far as where I can see that information, where I can track that information, and so on and so forth. So today we're going to be talking just about that. We're going to be going over some notes. When I create a note, where do I go ahead and where can I see it? We're going to be touching on activities. And then contacts and documents, and then the last little bit, I'm going to go ahead and just touch on some other various little ones like seminars, opportunities, voice dictation, things like that. So getting into it, first thing that we really want to focus on, probably the most important one, is those notes. Creating a note in the CRM and making sure that we added it to the right contact record, or taking a look at the areas where we can see all of our notes. So if I'm looking for maybe a database view of all my notes versus just the notes for a specific contact. The other thing we can take a look at, and I think this is probably one of the most important things when talking about this subject, is the timeline. So each database is going to have a timeline, and we can go ahead and track what's being put in, who put it in, at what time did they put it in. And I think that's a really important thing to at least know what the capabilities are. So right off the bat, I'm on the Today page. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head up to the top middle here. I see this 30 updates, and below it says timeline. Just be familiar with this within your office. Is that if I'm ever checking, hey, did somebody do this, or hey, are my assistants or is my advisor putting in the notes that they should be? A quick and easy way to go ahead and check is to click into the timeline. The timeline is going to show you everything that is added into the system. And we also have the ability on the right-hand side to go ahead and filter. So if I want to see all, I can go ahead and click all, and it's going to show me everything. It's stay color coordinated, right? So I see, an activity is going to be in blue. Any sort of addition to an account or anything like that is going to be in green. Modifications, I think, are going to be green. And then anytime we delete something or remove something, it's going to be in red. Now, again, if we're talking specifically about notes, or we're talking about activities, we can go ahead and search based off of those specific topics. So you'll see here I have notes. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is that it does say you. And now this is referring to me as being Tucker. This is a test database, so we're the only ones using it. So everything is going to say you. But when you get into the office and you start taking a look at these, you will see that it will have the user's name. It will also have your name when it says you, and you'll know that you were the one that added that. But anybody else will have their name. Any other user will have their name. So that's going to be the timeline, and that's really going to be good for really anything that we're going to talk about today. So that's kind of where I wanted to start. But again, you can go ahead and search anything, and then you can also pick which topic you wanted, or which kind of what piece of information you were looking for. So on top of that, building on that, I'm going to go ahead and create a note, and I want to create a note in the database because I want to show where I can see that note throughout the database. So first, best practice, obviously, we're going to go to the top right hand corner. We're going to hit the quick add button, and we're going to hit note. Now, if you do it this way, where you do not start within a contact record, you'll notice that it's going to prompt you to link to a contact. So if I go ahead and search Corey Matthews here, and I can go ahead and click into that, and now it will link this note to a contact. Now, this is where I think if you go about it this way, this is where you're going to have a little bit higher of a chance to go ahead and maybe put the note on the wrong contact. Maybe it will still prompt you to not. It will prompt you to always put a contact to a note, but if we put it to the wrong one, this is kind of higher chance. So what we recommend that you do is you go into the contact record itself. So I'm going to go into Corey Matthews, and then once I know that I'm in the contact record itself, I can hit the quick add button, and I can hit note. And what you'll see, the big difference is that it's at the very top, it says add note, and it has Corey Matthews' name there. So it's automatically going to assume I'm going to add this note, and it's going to be for Corey. So let's go ahead and just create a note. So let's say Corey today to doesn't think he has enough coverage. So client calls in, they say, hey, I'd like to schedule a meeting for some, to take a look at my insurance. I don't think I have enough coverage. So you say, great, you go ahead and add that note. We can go ahead and give it a category, which I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to say business insurance, and I am going to save the note. So now when I saved the note, obviously it's going to be put onto the contact record because I started on the contact record. However, if I did not do that, and I go ahead and use the quick add button, I hit note, maybe I think to myself, oh no, did I put it to the right Corey Matthews? Do I have more than one Corey Matthews? Am I dealing with some duplicates? Do I have some bad data in my system? Well, if that's the case, there's a couple ways that we can go about and take a look. So the first is we could go into the timeline, right? Click into the timeline. We could take a look, see added note. All right, we could go click into the note if we wanted to. And that will bring us to note details. And you can see who it was added to. The other thing that I would recommend that you do, and this is probably going to be the most important, is going up to the top in the Today page and going into Notes. So what this is going to show me, it's going to show me all my recently added notes. And what's even better is I can even narrow it down to the last 24 hours, the last 3 days, or the last 7 days. So if I think to myself, hey, I just added this, I only want to see what was done in the last day, I can go ahead and click the last 24 hours, and it's going to show me every single note that was added in the last 24 hours, which looks like we've been pretty busy this morning, adding all of these completed activities. If it's something over the last 7 days, again, we can go ahead and widen that search and go further down. But again, it does allow us to go ahead and search based off of time. Now, another great thing that I see here is notes by user. So if I want to see, maybe I have a competition in my office to see, hey, who's putting in the most notes, or hey, are these people even putting in notes? We can go ahead and check notes by user, and we can take a look at the different users who are putting in the, a number of notes. So we see me, Tucker McLaughlin, or we have a ton of notes put in there. And it looks like Haley is up next with number 2 at 10. So, and then no users at 25. Other thing we can do is we can see how many notes we're putting in per year. I kind of like that to just kind of track to see, hey, are we doing the same amount of business, and is everybody tracking accordingly? So also when it comes to taking a look, and again, this will allow us to go ahead and say, yes, this recently note, yes, it was added to Corey Matthews. Or hey, was it added to the wrong Corey Matthews? So then I can go ahead and open up this contact record, and it's going to bring me, yep, that's the right one. So I did add it. There's nothing I need to worry about. And then if it wasn't, then we would go ahead and make adjustments, maybe copy and paste and add it to the correct Corey Matthews contact record. So as we can go ahead and move on, and again, the other location you could also check is going into the actual contact itself. So I would go, rather than kind of searching all of those, I would go into the contact record itself. I could go into the latest notes here on the main page, or on the left-hand side, I can hit notes, and I'll see the notes that were applied for Corey Matthews. So again, talking about notes, adding them different places, we can see the same information. We had the Today page. We had the notes section on the Today page. We can go into the contact record, go into the notes section, see all the notes for the specific contact, or we can also go ahead and a little email there, and we can also take a look at on the contact record and in the database wide. What we also have, one other thing is if we're looking for specific things about the contact, over on the left-hand side, if we hit more, we can scroll all the way down to timeline. So if we added the note, we thought we added the note, and maybe, I doubt this is going to be the case, but maybe somebody deletes it, or we deleted the wrong note, and we want to take a look and verify. Every contact record is going to have a timeline for it. So any action that we go ahead and do specifically for this contact, we can go ahead and take a look at. So the timeline that I showed earlier is going to be database wide. The contact timeline that we're looking at now is going to be specific to a contact, to this contact. So you'll see any additions that we've made to his information or any activities that we've updated, we can go ahead and take a look. Now, moving one step further, or getting away from notes and going into activities, which again, those are two of the things that are probably added most into the CRM. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the timeline. We can take a look at what activities are added, and go up here to the filter option. We can hit activity, and we can see what activities were added, updated, deleted, anything like that. So that's going to be focusing on activities. And another thing that I wanted to point out today, because I've gotten some recent questions about it, it was, hey, I want to see a task list. I want to see a list of all my activities in one location. I don't want to have to go to my calendar. And so what I think is very underutilized is going to the Today page and clicking on the Activities tab. Because what this is going to show us is it's going to show us every single activity that we have in the database, or that's assigned to me, or whatever it may be. We have some filter options up here at the top. In kind of one quick motion, it's going to give us one list rather than having to go day by day on the calendar. I can go ahead and just quickly take a look at any of my open activities. Now, the filter day is going to show us past due in next 7 days. If we go ahead and create an activity and we thought we may put it on Corey Matthews' record, but then we find out, we check his contact record and we say, oh, it doesn't look like it's there. It's not attached to him. I may have applied it to somebody else. Well, if that's the case, as long as we know the day in which we were planning to have that activity, we could then go ahead and search based off of that time. So we would get away from the past due, and we could either go down to the next 30 days and just see what's coming up, or we could find the specific date range and say, oh, I think it was scheduled for February 5th. So we'll go to custom range here, and I'll just go ahead and just say February 5th to the 6th, and we'll apply that range. And now I have, oh, there it is. It's Henry's annual review, and it was applied to the wrong contact. So we can go ahead and make some sort of adjustment there. Click into the contact, and then we can go ahead and add the new additional contacts and remove the old ones, and then update it. So that's a way to go ahead and take a look if I'm questioning whether or not I applied the activity. Hey, I created this activity, I can't find it. Where can I go ahead and take a look? Again, on the same lines, we could go into the contact record. We could click into the contact record like we did with notes, go into the activities section, which let's just go into Dr. Henry Jones here. We could go into activities on the left-hand side, and we would see any activities that we have over the next 30 days. So then we would double check to make sure, yep, this was the contact record I applied it to. Now, one other location that you can do this with is going to be in reports. So if you want a better view, or maybe you want it, but maybe you did a bulk ad for everybody, a note ad, and you want to see everybody that you added it to, take a look and really use the reports section, because you're going to get some of the best information here. So you have the ability to do activities report and a notes report. So we can say activities report, activities by contact is the one that you're going to want to go into. Just go ahead and click into it. And again, just like any other report, we're going to go ahead and head over to the filter. So again, we're looking for any activities, maybe not for a specific person, but for a specific date range. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to February 1st through February 30th or so, 31st. Oh, excuse me, that was March. Go ahead and do that, and did it again. So we'll go ahead and we'll just use the picker. So we'll go to the 28th. And then we can go ahead and apply that search. So we would obviously want to select the status as open, because we don't want anything to be completed. also would probably be completed in the future. So we can just go ahead and apply that, and we see, hey, we didn't create it, or hey, nothing came up in my activities filter. So let's go ahead and maybe readjust that to further out. Oh, because this year is incorrect. That's why, because nobody lives in 0201. So we'll go ahead and do 18, and we'll go ahead and apply that one more time. And we'll take a look at all of the activities that we have. Then we can go ahead and say start date, is it which day is it? We can go all the way down for all of the activities that we have in the next 2 months. So we can kind of, again, take a look, see that information in the report side of things. All right. The other thing that we can go ahead and do, and this is just good practice when creating activities, just make sure that you're using the contact category, contact activity type. Activity type and activity category. That's going to allow you to best search based off of that. So again, if you're creating something, you create it with a client review type, and then the notes or the categories maybe client review notes. Then you can go ahead and search just off of that activity type if you think that you maybe applied it to the wrong contact record. Rather than looking at the date, you can look at just that specific type. Now, as we move along, I want to touch on contacts. So I know more often than not, there's going to be some staff members who are going to be delegated a task of, hey, I need you to put all these contacts into the database. And so you just start, kind of adding them into the database one by one, or if you do a spreadsheet and you send it into us, either way. But mostly this example is going to be specific to, one by one adding into the database. And if we have a list of 15 or so, we go ahead and apply everybody, and then we go through the list and we say, yep, everybody's good. You say great, but then maybe you start questioning yourself, and you're like, oh, did I forget that one? Did I forget this specific school that I'm working with? Or and rather than going each individual contact one by one and searching them for all 15 to make sure that they're all there, what you also have the option to do is see the recently added contacts to your database. So again, you could go to the timeline. You could take a look at all of the contacts that you have added. So you would go to contact, and you would see any sort of updates for a specific contact, or any you added a contact. We could take a look there. But if you wanted to take it one step further, you can also go into contacts on the left-hand side. Then you can go up to lists. And then you can go down to recently added. And what this is going to do is this is going to show us all of the recently added contacts within the database. It will give us a little bit more information rather than just, yes, this contact was added, because it's going to give us the status, the category, the source, the type, and then even the location for that contact. And these can be businesses. And what you'll see here is we're getting ready for Redtail University 2018, so we're getting all of our fun data added in here. So we have a number of different businesses in here. So from there, you could go ahead and take a look, and you'd say, yep, I have this one, go down the list and realize, yep, I have everything, or nope, I forgot to add this one, so I'm going to go ahead and add it. And since I'm already in the recently added contacts, I can just hit the new contact button and go ahead and add it right from here. So just another way to go ahead and see those additional contacts that we want to add. I've added something, where did it go? We can go ahead and search up at the top right. We can go to the timeline, or we have the ability to go to the contacts and go to lists and then recently added. So those are going to be, creating those contacts and making sure where they're at. So now the last couple ones that I want to talk about are just kind of some one-off, some smaller ones. So the first one is going to be opportunities. So if we create an opportunity, obviously I'll be able to go ahead and take a look at all of the opportunities here. But you'll also see is I can take a look up in the top right-hand corner, right hand. I can see the last added. So I can double check to make sure that this opportunity for Bill was the last one that we added into the database. So again, I added it. Where did it go? Well, it's going to be in your list of opportunities, but if you don't see it, and maybe you applied it to somebody else and gave it some permission, you could go ahead and make sure that you'll see it here. What was the last one that was added? Very similar to seminars. what was the last seminar I added? I can go ahead and take a look in the seminars tab over here on the left. Once I log in, I'll see this bar up here at the top. I can see my last added. So it was my holiday open house. It was the last seminar that I created here. Other things, I know we recently did a webinar with Mobile Assistant. So I'm just going to kind of, if there's any questions from that, I'll just kind of shoot you over here. Is anytime you use any voice dictation, so I get this asked a lot, hey, I'm using CopyTalk, where are my notes going? I have the integration turned on. I don't see them in my database. I don't see it on the contact record itself. Where you're going to want to go is the Today page. You're going to want to go scroll all the way down to the very bottom, and you'll see Mobile Assistant notes, or if CopyTalk was turned on, you'd see CopyTalk messages. And then from there, all you have to do is hit the action icon and go ahead and create a note. And then it'll go ahead and create a note from that message. And then you can go ahead and save that note with the timestamps and everything that was there. Again, it's just another way, I've added it. Where is it? Let's go ahead and show you where those are located. So that's really going to be it for today. It's a kind of a shorter topic, but I think it is something that is good to know. So just to quickly review, timeline is going to be the number one place that we're going to want to look when we're talking about adding things. Did I add something? Did somebody else add something? We can go ahead and take a look on the timeline, and that's going to be for our database, database wide. We also have take a look on the contact level. So we have the contact timeline. We can go ahead and also take a look at any one of those reports that we reviewed, activity reports, notes by contact. Those will give us any sort of information that we're looking for on, hey, I added this. I don't know where I applied it to. Let's go ahead and search, different places within the database to go ahead and find that information and go ahead and correct our error. And then lastly, we have the contacts. We can always go into the contacts and see our most recently added contacts, and we can go from there. So just like always, if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us at 1-800-206-5030, or you can always reach out to us at support@redtailtechnology.com. Other than that, I wish you all a great rest of the week, and we will talk to you next week. All right, take care.